On the 15th birthday of Heal, the 17th prince, the king announces that Heal is now an adult. To celebrate, he grants the prince his own dominion. He will go to the land and heal it. Like that, he leaves for his new land in a boat. He has to face many obstacles on the way. 10 days from the capital by boat, an island so remote even pirates won't go near it, let alone merchants. It is more like a big rock, a shell reef. The ship with him does not stop with him on the island and goes straight, making him think that they are not even going to check if he landed safely. With that, he marches off towards the island to land on it. From now onwards, this is his post. There's not even a beach. He wonders where he will be landing as he moves closer to the island. This is the dominion of the 17th prince of the kingdom of Sandfales. When his post was announced, the 11th prince, Valpas, laughed, saying that the reef would be perfect for Heal, while the 9th princess, Thala, found it interesting to be granted a senior reef to Heal. Heil has poor abilities, but there is a bigger reason why everyone laughs at him. Everyone in the family has a crest. His brothers have lovely crests like Sharp Tool God and King of Magic and power befitting of those names. However, compared to him who has an unknown crest, they can't figure out what it does. No matter how much he tries, he can't make up for his crest. His father and his brother resent him for bringing shame to the royal family. When Heil was being given his dominion, he asked his father if he couldn't send a representative to govern that reef. The king got angry. He said that it was the word of the oracle. So basically, he was being exiled. He was expelled to an uninhabited mountain of rocks. He is starting to think it would be better to be executed for treason. He thinks that it is too soon to lead the world. He thinks that he might be able to land there. He needs to slow down so he doesn't smash into the rocks. He uses his wind magic to slow himself down. He wonders if this is the real power of magic. The wind magic should produce a stronger gust of wind, but he can't do it properly. However, he decides to get his supplies to safety for now. After landing, he takes his belongings and looks around to find something to store his stuff. He comes across a cave filled with bone structures. He gets nervous after seeing the situation of the cave, as all he can see are bones. However, he couldn't find anywhere else to place his belongings, so he settled for the cave. He brings all his supplies into the cave one by one. After that, he sits to rest a little. He looks outside of the cave into the beautiful sea while washing off his tiredness. He looks around at his view and wonders if it is beautiful and if it is far away from all the strife in the capital. If the situation was different, he wondered that he would have enjoyed his moments here. Just then, he encourages himself to not think that way. He says that he is going to survive on this island. He thinks that when a ship passes by, he will ask them to help him. It can't be one from his country, so his choices are foreign or pirate ships. At best, he will become a slave. There are no merchant routes here in the first place, and it is too far from the land for anyone to be fishing here. He thinks that there is something that he needs to deal with first. He looks at his stuff thinking the food and water he brought with him will last a month at best. He can't rely on his magic, so he needs to store rainwater in the barrels and fish. He has to clean up the cave too and remove these bones. He looks into his belongings to find a tool. He says that he will try to dig with it. The voice comes again, saying that this is an acquired mining tool. It asks if he wants to mine. He is shocked to hear the voice coming from inside his head. He asks who it is. He gets a reply that the Crest Cave King has an advisor function. It is not a living organism. He looks at his crest with a shock, wondering if the crest that never worked for him all his life is a crest of a cave king. He wonders why now all of a sudden the crest started to work. He realizes that he lived in the royal palace all his life, so he was never even close to a cave. The crest says that in addition to the advisor function, it boosts mining skills and supports. Inside the cave, he can rank up various things. Hyles asks the crest to wait as he is unable to understand everything. He asks what will happen if he says that he is going to start mining. The crest understands the request and activates the optimizing mining. The walls in the cave start to shine. The crest says that the shining white parts are the most suitable places for mining. It is calculated that it is easy to break. It also prevents canions. He decides to try it out and tries to break one of the shining parts. With just one light blow, a giant stone comes out of the cave. He realizes that it is just like what the advisor said. He says that the cave is really bright even though he is in the cave. He asks the crest if it is one of the support effects. The crest advisor agrees, saying that it is the night vision effect. Heil decides to complete his job and rolls his sleeves to start making room for him to sleep. He starts mining at all the bright places in the cave and can remove a lot of stones from his way. He is really enjoying mining. He doesn't even realize the time, and it is night. He is enjoying his time mining the cave with the newly discovered powers of the Crest. He asks the Crest if the amount he can dig at once is increasing as the rocks are getting too big. The Crest advisor says that the amount he can dig increases as his mining skills rank up. He is asking about his ability improving when he trips on a rock and falls. Before he could stand up, the Crest advisor asked if he would like to retrieve 168 rocks. He questions what rocks the advisor is talking about and where can he retrieve them. The Crest says that the Crest King allows you to store what he is mining, no matter how much. However, he is unable to answer where the stones can be retrieved. Heil stands up and continues to mine the cave. The Crest advisor says that it has no effect on his body and can be taken out at any time he wants. With that, 168 rocks are retrieved and the Crest starts to build the inventory. He is surprised to see the inventory being built. The advisor asks if he would like to activate automatic retrieval, to which Heil agrees. He is happy to see his power increasing with every blow he makes, saying that at this rate, he is going to reach the other side. He says that it is time to start digging down. Within no time, he is 10 meters down from where he started. He has never heard of the term meters all his life. He thinks that he will have to know what 1 meter means. Before, he knew the Crest had all sorts of stuff in his inventory. Copper and bronze ore, even a gold ore. He thinks that it is not like the gold ore is going to do him any good on an uninhabited island. He looks into his inventory, questioning about the magic stone as he doesn't know about it. The Crest activates a mining field guide. It says that the magic stone increases the magic power of the user. The bigger the stone, the bigger the increase in the power. Heil realizes what a magic stone does and thinks that even his power magic can be improved with this stone. He questions why he had so much trouble all this time. He asks about the turtle stone, to which the advisor tells him that it is used to increase the lifespan by 1 day. He had no idea what Cave King did. He thinks that his Crest is amazing and this Shield Reef too. He thinks that the reef turned out to be an incredible domain for him. He is happy with how he is excelling in the cave. He takes his mining tool and starts mining. He completely forgot about looking for ships to rescue him and mined away the cave. He reached 30 meters in no time, and he has so much in his inventory now. The most curious stones for him are the magic stone and the turtle stone, which are about 90 and 6 respectively. He thinks that the magic stone would be nice if he could use more advanced magic. The Crest advisor asks if he would like to use 90 magic stones, to which he agrees. Once the stones are utilized, he stands there wondering what to do now. He looks at his hands and asks the advisor if the stones have been used already, to which he agrees. He asks if anything happens to his body when the magic power increases. He decides to test it out by cleaning the path he dug. He uses his wind magic to clean the area. His wind power now is so strong that it wipes out everything in the path in front of him, including all the dirt and bone structures lying in the cave, leaving a clean and clear cave for him. Once the magic ends, he is shocked to see what he can do now. He doesn't know what to say about the power, as he is surprised to see the power 90 magic stones gave him. Just then, something pops out of the ground and jumps at him. He gets shocked yet again to see the jelly-like creature. 3 days after Heil, the 17th prince of the Kingdom of Sandfales was assigned, or rather, banished to the mountain of rocks known as the Shield Reef. He woke up and packed his bag to start another day of digging. He asks Shell to come with him. He sits on him to go to the spot for mining. The jelly-like creature that popped out of nowhere is Heil's first companion, named Shell. 3 days ago, Shell popped out, making him wonder what it was. He was shocked to see it. He said that he had read about it and realized that it was a slime. He wondered if it jumped because the wind magic scared him. The Crest advisor informed him that it was a tameable monster. Tame is a skill that makes monsters follow him, but he has never seen it being used. It doesn't work on hostile monsters, and his kingdom does not like monsters. However, in the cave, there is only one person who can judge, and that is himself. The Crest advisor told him that to complete the taming process, he needed to name him. Heil thought about Shell's name based on his connection to the Shield Reef. With that, the taming was completed. It is obvious Shell doesn't understand human words, but having another living being with him makes him feel better. That is what he thought at first. He asks Shell to help him while he mines. Shell deforms itself into a long stone-like structure, helping Heil to reach up in the cave. It is smart, surprisingly. Heil can use gestures to tell Shell what he wants, and thanks to that, his mining started progressing faster. In these last 3 days, the amount of things he has dug up tripled. He has used about 500 magic stones already. With his power-up magic, the food stopped being an issue. After mining, Heil lays down while Shell gives him a shoulder massage. He found around 10 more slimes while he was mining. He doesn't think it will be easy to communicate with them. So for him, Shell might be the special one. He thinks that he is fine with them as long as they don't get in the way of his mining. He sleeps thinking about what he will dig tomorrow. The next day, Heil wakes up to find Shell jumping around. He asks why it is jumping around. To answer, Shell takes Heil to a spot in the cave. They come across some people washed over onto the reef. Heil is shocked to see green-skinned goblins. He realizes that their boat has crashed into the rocks. Just then, one of the goblins moves, making Heil realize that they survived. He thinks that generally, goblins and humans are enemies. Most humans are taught to beat the goblins until they leave the world on sight, and the opposite is also true, but he wouldn't feel good about leaving them to simply vanish. With that, he decides to use his recovery magic on them and takes them inside the cave so that they can rest. He thinks that for now, they will be right. He leaves to mine, asking Shell to inform him about any change in the goblin's condition. He wonders if he was being careless. He questions if they will wake up and beat him. He thinks that he will be all right if he uses the medium magic. He is getting a bit anxious. He tries to calm himself and decides to mine. With that, he starts digging the cave. He gets so focused on mining that he forgets about everything else. He is happy to see his inventory being in a good state. He looks around in the inventory to see what new rocks he has. He finds the shining stones that don't lose their shine and the Misogi stone that lifts all sorts of curses when used. He wonders that he already has night vision, so he won't need the shining stone, and there is no one here to curse him. However, he is pleased to find new stuff. He decided to continue digging and mining the cave. Heil is doing his work when Shell comes in. He asks Shell if the goblins wake up. With that, he sits on the shell and goes to see the goblins. He sees the three arguing about something. The general is eating Heil's food while the princess tries to stop him. On the other hand, the third goblin says that he can't just put his hands on someone else's food. They should discuss it first. Just then, they spot Heil looking at them and demanding to know who he is. The prince asks the general to put down the tool. He denies doing so as he thinks Heil is dangerous. Heil is shocked to see that they speak the same language. He wonders if they are from the Balian continent too. He tells them that he is not planning on doing anything to them. The goblins are skeptical about trusting a human. Heil realizes that they are afraid of him and laughs. The goblins wonder why he is laughing at them. Shell also looks at him with surprise. The goblins say that he looks super dangerous. Heil says that he is so engrossed in his digging that he is becoming something not human. He tells them that they can have the food. He uses his wind magic and fries the fish. He tells them that they can all eat the fish that he has fried. They are shocked to see his magic and ask if he can use magic like that. So why didn't he just vanish them? The princess asks the general why he is always so quick to judge, and with that, she falls on the ground. The goblins rush towards her, asking her to wake up. Heil asks if her wounds are not completely healed. The general replies saying that the princess was cursed with the life shrinking. The time for the princess's departure is soon. They don't want to let the princess leave alone and decide to go with her. They decide to receive their ancestors' punishment in another world. Heil is shocked to see them in this state and asks them to wait. He says that he thinks he can cure the princess. The general asks him not to lie as they have tried everything. He says that he has never used it before, but he will try it. With that said, Heil uses the Misogi stone on the princess. He looks at her and realizes that her lifespan was shortened too and uses 79 turtle stones on her. The goblins asked what kind of light it was. Heil informs them that the Misogi stone lifts curses. They ask where did he get that stone. Before he could reply, the princess woke up asking what happened. She says that she thought she vanished. The goblins apologize to Heil for mistaking his intentions. They ask what they can do for him and how they can apologize for their behavior. Heil asks them to come and eat something first. He says that they haven't introduced themselves yet. The general goblin says that his name is General L from the Belden tribe. The princess says that her name is Ree, the daughter of Rodan, the king of the Belden tribe and the last goblin, says that he is Veri, the shaman of the Belden tribe. Yahello introduces himself as Yahello, prince of the kingdom of Sandfales, or he was. General L asks Yahello why he can use all this magic. He explains that that is because of the stones he dug up. General L asks Rai if she is all right. He says that their hometown was burned to the ground by orcs. Almost the entire royal family has vanished from this world. Only Princess Ree was able to survive. He says that they have been looking for a new place to live for the past year, but no other clan would take them and humans chased them away. They and the other survivors headed towards the new world, but Vari says they don't even know if the others are safe because their ship ran down. Princess Ree asks Veri not to blame El, as if they stayed on the land, they would have the same fate as others. She thanks Yahello for saving the monsters like them. He says that it is all right. Princess Ree says that she already knows she will have a long life. However, the pain in her chest has been gone. She says that she is happy to simply vanish into the other world, peacefully. Yahello says that it is too soon to give up. He says that there are still turtle stones lying dormant underground. They can extend their lifespan as much as they want as long as they have these. He says that if he digs at this rate for a week, he thinks that he will be able to buy more than a year. The goblins are shocked to hear the news. General L requests that Yahello would let them dig with him. He is happy to have some companions while digging and agrees. The General L thanks Yahello for his help. However, Princess Ree asks why he would give them something so precious. Yahello assures them not to worry as he digs only because he likes it and he is lonely in the cave by himself. Princess Rai is shocked to see his behavior towards the goblin and cries with gratitude, thanking Yahello for all the help he is doing for them. Yahello tells them that it is really not a big deal. He thinks that he has the ice axes in his inventory, but if they dig somewhere weird, they might have a cave-in. Just then, the Crest advisor comes to the rescue, telling him that it is possible to grant blessings with a part of his effects to the monsters he tames. He can attach the effects like improving mining skills, XPUB, and optimized mining. He tells them about the taming so that they could be able to mine with him. He says that they can refuse and he won't mind it. He will dig by himself and give them as many turtle stones as they want. General L says that he and Vari will serve him and requests the princess to not be a part of this. The princess comes forward requesting to be granted the opportunity to serve Yahello too. She says that she just can't sit back and let everyone else work for her. She wants to repay the debt to Yahello somehow. She asks Yahello to give her a new name. Yahello says that she doesn't have to worry about it too much. He thinks that she can stop later if she can. He tames El as Elvin, Vari as Varys, and for Ray, Yahello gives her a new name, Reena. The three tell Yahello that they will do their best to serve him. After finishing eating the fish, they went underground. Yahello simply wants to get back to mining. He provides them with a shining stone to help them see in the dark. They don't have a night vision, so he made a shining stone torch to help them out. The goblins are shocked to see the shining stone and ask where the stone came from. Yahello informs them that it was in his inventory. He says that he will teach them about it while they dig. The goblins see that the cave is shining in some places and find it pretty. Yahello explains that the shining places are the points that are safe to hit. He decides to show them how it is done and makes a blow at one of the shining points on the cave walls. With just a simple and light blow, a huge part of the cave comes out, shocking the goblins. He explains that he didn't start too strong. He thinks that they will be able to break it like this if they get used to it. He says that the stones won't be collected automatically and requests Shell to give instructions to the other slimes. With that, he encourages the goblins to practice mining, as practice makes it perfect. From that day forward, the cave became a lot livelier. More weaklings, or rather weaklings. Yahello sees himself surrounded by people asking if he would like to be turned into ash together. He looks at the potion he is wearing on his neck, wondering about the interaction. The goblins get worried about him after seeing him in this state. Elvin asks if he is tired as he dug a lot, while Reena asks if he is alright. Yahello says that he was just thinking about some stuff, and because of his cave king, he can dig all day without getting tired. Reena asks him not to worry too much. Yahello smells something delicious and decides to stop thinking about the matter for the time being. He asks about the smell, stating something smells good. Reena replies saying that today they are having apple pie. Varys, Elvin, and Yahello are stunned to hear about the food. It has been 3 days since he has met the goblins, and they have made a few things. They get a bathroom, a reservoir, and a simple kitchen. It is thanks that he can eat Reena's cooking. Hyle eats the apple pie and really likes it. He tells Reena that the food is really good. Reena is happy to see that Hyle likes her food. Thanks to Reena, the ingredients that he had brought with him had to be boiled or baked. However, she was able to turn them into delicious food. Elvin says that he never thought that mining would be so much fun. Varys agrees with Elvin, saying that this is all worth it because they can extend the princess's life. Reena thanks the three for all their efforts and hard work for her. The situation of the cave is slowly getting better, but there is still a mountain of things to do. Hyle doesn't have the necessary resources. As far as the firewood and lumber go, he can count on what he brought and driftwood. He can't get any food on the island besides fish, and their clothes are slowly going to deteriorate. Hyle wonders that he doesn't have a lot of hope, but if a ship comes by, he can probably buy supplies with his gems. He wonders who would have thought that he would start having concerns like a real lord of the land. He thinks that for now, they should keep mining. He wants more turtle stones for Reena, and he might be able to find some new stones. He is thinking about all this when he gives a blow to one of the shining spots on the cave's wall, only to find out that it is hollow. He goes inside the hollow space in the cave, wondering what kind of stone there are in the wall. The stones have an orange glow like a sunset and seem different from the shining stone. He sits down to examine the ground. He finds dirt on the ground and wonders why it is here. Just then he looks up and finds a giant spider staring right at him. Hyle is shocked to see such a huge spider in the cave and wonders if this is his last day in this world and will vanish soon. He uses his magic on the spider only to find that it has run away. He sees that there are small spiders too and realizes that the spider is simply protecting its children. He apologizes to the spider, saying that this is its den. The Crest advisor asks Hyle if he would like to tame the monsters that have been found. After some time, when the goblins are busy in their talks, Hyle comes out. Elvin asks if he has changed his mind and wants him to help, but soon his sentence is cut short after seeing a huge spider and some mini spiders behind Hyle. The goblins shout that there is something behind him. Hyle apologizes to the goblins for startling them. He says that the spider's mother is Taryn and is with her children. They have been tamed and joined the group. Varys is shocked to see Taryn, the cave spider. He says that he didn't guess that there was such a big one here. Hyle asks if the spiders in the continent are smaller. Varys agrees, saying that normally they are about as big as he is. Their silk is stronger than iron, and they have powerful poison in their fangs. Their nature is very dangerous, and they have been known to eat people and monsters. Hyle questions about the people being eaten by spiders. However, Varys says that he was told to watch out if there was dirt in the back of the cave. That dirt is the cave spiders. Hyle says that the floor in the cave where he found them was covered in it. Varys says that this is good news, as their dirt can be used for raising crops that are full of nutrients. They can cultivate staple foods like mushrooms. The spider silk mixed inside, it makes it difficult for water to get out. Hyle says that it would be perfect for farming. However, Varys questions where they are going to farm on this island full of rocks. Hyle tells him that he wants to show him a place and asks them to follow him inside the tunnel. They look inside the tunnel to find stairs and a huge space. Reena asks where did this come from. Hyle says that the path was too narrow for Taryn, so he widened it and took the opportunity to try using the new features of his Cave King. Hyle ranked up as 2 in the Cave King features. The advisor told him that he had reached the necessary proficiency. The Cave King has been promoted to rank 2. He has been given the new feature of design, according to which, while mining, he can shape it any way he wants. So he made the stairs, as it is easier to walk on the stairs than a bumpy tunnel. He also got a new feature of the workshop, which processes and synthesizes things in his inventory. The materials that are capable of being processed or synthesized are stone, sand, and marble. He can't use design outside, but he can make gravel with a workshop and use it to reclaim land. The rock and sand will form the gravel. He remodeled the kitchen into a new design because of this. Hyle also has an area of effect feature that can only be used inside the cave, but workshops and the ability to things out of the inventory are available outside of the caves too. With that, he added the night vision to the tamed monsters. With that, the day ends and the night falls. Elvin says that it looks like they are going to be very busy tomorrow. Varys discusses all the things that they have to do tomorrow. Hyle asks if they should have a welcome party for Taryn and its children in preparation for tomorrow. Reena agrees and takes the responsibility of grilling lots of fish. With that, the plan to remodel the island was set in motion. The next day, Elvin and Varys make ice axes. Varys says that he doesn't know how to make one as good as the original one. Hyle encourages him, saying that making an iron tool in a place like this in itself is a huge advancement. Reena knit using spider silk. Hyle was surprised to see a soft towel which felt really nice. She says that she can make a futon too if he wants. Hyle uses their stuff here while leaving Taryn in charge of farming in another, surprisingly blossomed. Hyle is surprised to see how fast the spiders are. Even the king of the cave can't get careless. And with that, in no time, a small shoot grows into a small plant and then into an apple tree. Everyone is shocked to see the fast-paced growth of plants. Hyle says that he didn't think that it would have such an effect. Varys wonders if that is why Taryn is so big. The orange stone Hyle found in that cave are sunstones, and they accelerate the growth of living beings. He couldn't find them anywhere else, so he has to treasure them. Right now, he has 678 sunstones. Hyle asks Reena if she has a minute and leaves her with the management of the sunstones and the planning of the plantation. She asks if he is sure he wants her to take care of something so precious. She agrees to manage the sunstone, letting Hyle know that she won't let him down. Hyle was a little worried about Reena as she was thinking too much about it, but that is why he can trust Reena. Hyle rides Shell and goes to another part of the cave. He thanks Shell for the fast ride. He says that the ride was a little scary. Everyone is working on what they do their best so he can focus on mining even more. His goal is to get more turtle stones for Reena. She should have gained 5 years of life, but she told him that she is still just like him. He is sure she wants to live a lot more. He is the most efficient digger, so this is where he has to work hard. He starts digging when he finds another new stone. It seems to be a white stone. Hyle decides to collect it first. The white stone turns out to be the dragon orb that can bring a bone structure back to life. He is shocked to see the strength of this stone and asks Taryn and its children to come and dig here with him. However, after so much digging, he wasn't able to find any more dragon orbs. Taryn and their children get tired after all the work, so he stops. Hyle understands that it would be pretty scary to be able to go around resurrecting as much as he wanted. He says that he will bring the stone outside as if he dies. He won't be able to take it outside of the inventory. Just then, he hears Elvin calling him. He asks what happened but gets no response. He decides to leave the stone there for now and runs up the cave, asking Elvin what had happened while the dragon orb rolls down somewhere. Hyle runs outside the cave where Elvin is standing. He tells Hyle that their comradeship is right over there. Hyle asks if he is sure about it, to which Elvin assures that he does not doubt the ship being theirs. The ship is struggling in the water. However, Hyle is happy to see that the Elven people are still in the world. Reena cries seeing them as she thinks that they have vanished into another world. Elvin is happy to see the ship as his daughter is also on that ship. Hyle says that it is too dangerous for the ship to dodge here and asks Elvin to take his boat. He also provides them with a bag of gems, asking them to take it as a parting gift. He says that with this, they can easily restore the Belden tribe anywhere they want. Elvin is shocked to see the generous act of kindness by Hyle and asks what he is saying. Hyle asks in response what he means. His friends are here, he should leave this remote place. He questions if they would like to trade with him when they find a good place to settle. It would be great for him if he could get his hands on goods from the outside. The goblins look at each other, still confused. Elvin requests Hyle in a loud voice not to abandon them. Hyle is shocked to see their reaction. The goblins say that they are not going to leave by any means. They are going there to make sure that they pledge allegiance to him. They would never be so ungrateful. Reena agrees, saying that they are his subordinates. Hyle appreciates their thoughts but tells them that they won't get another opportunity like this. Reena asks if he would like to come with them. He says that this was his plan in the beginning, to find a ship that is not from his country and go somewhere else, leaving the island behind, but he wants to stay now. Reena says that in that case, she is also not leaving either. Varys and Elvin follow the same decision. Hyle is surprised to see the goblins' loyalty towards him, but before he can say something, the Comrade ship struggles in the water and is about to crash and sink. Elvin gets worried seeing the situation of the ship, saying that this is bad as many of them don't know how to swim. He runs towards them, saying that he is taking the boat. Hyle sees that they won't be able to make it in time and that tiny boat can only hold a few people. It is not good for them to try only to fail. He gets depressed as he can't do anything for the goblins. Without thinking twice, he jumps into the water, shocking the goblins. Heidel jumps into the water thinking that it is not hopeless. He can do it and uses 8,870 non-magic stones in the process to gain more strength in his magic. He kind of cave uses the frozen magic to stop the water flowing around him, shocking the goblins because of his powerful magic. By using the power of 8,000 magic stones, Heil freezes the water and asks Elvin to forget about the boat and cross the ice to save his comrades. Elvin does as ordered and runs towards the ship. However, he slips because the path Heil made is too slippery for Elvin to walk on. He calls Terran to help him out with his legs. The children also come to the rescue. Elvin apologizes to the spiders, saying that he was never good to them, but he has changed his heart. Shell and other slimes also come to rescue the goblins' comrades. With the help of all, they can save all the comrades in the process. Elvin helps everyone land on the shield reef, while Heil tries to maintain the frozen magic. After everyone has been saved and landed on the island safely, Heil helps them by using his healing magic. Reena is grateful for Heil's help and thanks him as all 208 comrades are safe now. She asks how she can repay him. He is glad to see that everyone is safe. Elvin is happy to see his daughter safe and sound. Varys tells Heil that the girl is Fu, Elvin's daughter. Heil thinks that she takes after her mom. Reena informs Heil that all the sick people are doing better thanks to the healing magic. She thanks Heil for all the help he has given. Heil says that he couldn't have done it alone. Terran and the other spiders, Shell and the other slimes were also a big part in rescuing the goblins. He says that they all saved the Belden tribe. He thanked everyone as they all together were able to save their comrades. Reena says that Heil is too kind toward them. Varys says something has been in his mind and asks Heil who is behind him. Heil looks behind to find a human standing with crossed arms. Heil asks if the man is on the ship. Varys denies, saying that he hadn't heard any report regarding him. He says that he was wondering if Heil had met him in the cave. Heil says that he hasn't seen him before either. He introduces himself as Heil and asks the man for his name. However, he doesn't reply at all and sits with the goblins and eats food. Heil guesses he is hungry. Reena leaves, saying that she will roast more fish. Varys asks who this person is. Heil, now knowing the answer to Varys' question, says that for now, they should get him dressed. The next day, the goblins help Heil as mining the cave. They are working hard, which pleases Heil a lot. With the help of so many goblins, the area turned into a nice room in no time. There are 41 rooms for 5. Their population increased by 205, so he had to prepare some new rooms. He tamed everyone in the Belden tribe. The circumstances may not have been the best. He is honestly happy about the island becoming so much livelier. However, it wasn't all good news. They could recover only a few supplies from the shipwreck. So they are very busy increasing the production of daily necessities and tools. Reena comes with a juice and compliments Heil for a great job at building so many good rooms. He thanks her for her compliment and asks how she is doing. She offers him a juice, saying that it is all of a sudden, but she wants him to have a taste. He takes the glass, saying that the color and smell look really good. He drinks the juice to realize that it is a grape juice. She says that she used a sun tone on a grape seed she found on the boat. Heil is very pleased with the improvement. He says that he never thought that he would be able to drink fresh fruit juice here. Reena says that it is still a small plantation, but in a few years, it will be full of fruits. Heil is happy to see that Reena is thinking about the future too. He asks her to let him know if there is anything that he can do to help her out. Reena agrees, saying that she will do her best. Just then, Heil hears a goblin arguing with a man. He asks him what his deal is. He says that he has been doing nothing but staring. He calls him Mappa and asks him to go and bother someone else. Heil asks about Mappa. Rihanna tells Heil that everyone calls the man Mappa. Mappa takes some tools and plays with them, irritating the goblin. The goblin asks if his work is not good enough for him. He asks him to try it himself and gives him the hammer. Mappa takes the hammer and starts building stuff. It looks like he is used to it. He uses the hammer so fast that shocks everyone. Within no time, he carves a new tool out of iron that is fine and elegant. It looks like a work of art, but ice axes are tools. Heil wonders if the new tool can be used to break the rocks. He takes the usual tool in his right hand and Mappa's newly made tool in his left hand to test them out. With 2 blows each with one tool, a new hole is made inside the cave's walls. However, the hole made by Mappa's tool is much greater. It should just be regular iron, like the other one. Hyle asks who Mappa is. Just then, Hyle realizes that he has left the dragon stone here. He looks around but finds it nowhere. Reena asks what's wrong. He asks if they have seen the round rock that was here. He had completely forgotten about it in all the confusion. He looks around and finds the shape of a man in the rock. Hyle didn't see them in the shadow of rocks, but he guessed there were bones here. So the dragon orbs brought Mappa back. That's why he still doesn't know who he is. He thinks that in that case, he should be happy about getting another reliable comrade. Thanks to Mappa's tools, they were able to level the coast, took the ship apart, and started to rebuild it. They started to make some progress on big tasks. They have been digging more too. They even found new slime, so he tamed them and had them help with transportation. Hyle wants to say that everything is going perfectly, but something is on his mind. They have been finding fewer turtle stones. Reena said that she thinks she has had enough turtle stones. She said while smiling, but they only increased her lifespan by about 10 years. He is sure Reena wants to live a lot longer. Hyle says that this is not it for Shell, as he is the one who wants Reena to stay with him for longer. He wants to dig more, develop the island, and live with Reena. Hyle digs, saying this when he comes across a room at the bottom of the cave. He had thought that it was just an uninhabited island. He wonders if something happened here long ago. He decides to collect the things first. Hyle collects a heartstone that can become the core of an artificial organism. With the heartstone, it is not possible to create a doll, says the Crest advisor. It is possible to combine materials in the inventory to create a doll. He wonders if he can create a new comrade. He decides to think about it later. He takes the golden stone into his inventory, which turns out to be the change stone that allows a monster to evolve. Hyle doesn't know what it means. The Crest advisor explains that it changes a monster into another species. The new monster inherits the other's age and personality, but the body is changed. He finds it scary to change the body of a monster. He gets an idea and decides to discuss it with others. Varys says that the stone is capable of evolving monsters. Hyle asks how he knows about this. Varys replies saying that every goblin knows about it. It is mentioned in their legends. He asks Hyle if he knows any species that resemble goblins. Hyle asks if he is asking about hobgoblins and leaf goblins. Varys says that they were originally regular goblins. It is said that the ones that wanted more power turned into hobgoblins, and the ones who wanted to live deep in the forest turned into the leaf goblins, and it was thanks to this stone. Hyle questions if that's what evolving means. He asks Elvin if he is a hobgoblin. Elvin denies, saying that he has never used this stone. He was born like that. Varys says that he thought the stone only existed in the legends. He is surprised to see it in real. According to the Cave King, it evolves a being into a new body and renews its lifespan, shocking the rest. He asks if they would like to try it. Elvin says that he is curious, but he is quite attached to his body. His body is too cool to be evolved or something. Reena sits there in silence and then says that she is willing to help Hyle in any way she can, whether it be magic or something else, but she can't use something so precious. Varys says that this is not a bad idea. Goblins cannot use magic, but perhaps if she can evolve, she can. Hyle says that he is sure it would help him a lot if she could use the magic, and above all else, he wants her to live longer. Reena sits there in silence and thinks about it. After a small pause, she says that she wants to evolve. Hyle says that this has been decided then and gives her the stone. She takes the stone and says that she wants to stay with Hyle for a long time when a sharp light comes out of the stone. After the light is gone, the goblins and Hyle look at Reena. Reena has turned into a beautiful woman. She looks at herself asking what happened to her. Just then, Mappa passes out after seeing Reena's beauty. After some time, Hyle wakes up wondering if he has fallen asleep. Just then, he remembers Reena evolving into a human. He looks up to see Reena sitting beside him waiting for him to wake up. He is shocked to see her. She smiles at him, which makes him nervous. He jumps because of the shocks. Reena tells him that he needs to lie down. He had collapsed all of a sudden. He remembers what happened earlier and gets embarrassed. He tries to explain that he was just a bit tired. He asks how long has he been sleeping and asks about Mappa too. Reena says that it is still night, so he wasn't sleeping for that long. She says that Mappa is resting over there. He calms down a little and asks Reena if she is all right. He says he didn't know she would look like a human. Reena confesses that she didn't like her old self. She was cursed when she was young, and because of it, she was sickly and her growth stopped. Her beautiful sisters always laughed at her. Her parents tried to help her out at first, but they started ostracizing her too. So there is no doubt that when she used the change stone, she wished to be beautiful. She apologizes to Yahello for using such a precious stone for a selfish wish. Yahello says that he doesn't know what to say, but he feels like he changed since he came to this island too. So if she feels like she has a new life, then that is fine. He says that it would be a waste if she evolved but didn't get the body that she wanted to have. She thanks Yahello for the stone and for understanding her. Reena says that her body, her name, and her new life were all given by him, so she will offer her everything to him. He is about to say something when Mappa wakes up. The Belden tribe was shocked by Reena's evolution. Reena made a new dress with a cloth from Terran and the others. Elvin and Varys saw the evolution, but many couldn't believe that this happened so suddenly. However, when they saw her working hard, they soon realized that it was Reena. Not only that, but she devoted herself to studying magic and martial arts. It seems like Reena's ambitions were endless. Yahello is happy to see Reena working so hard and training herself. He looks at her with amusement in his eyes when suddenly Varys asks what is on his mind. Yahello explains that he wasn't thinking anything. Varys laughs, saying that this is what is expected of Yahello. He says that this is the princess's crest farmer. Yahello is surprised to hear about a crest on a goblin. Varys says that farmers make crops beautiful. It was a very good choice to entrust the plantation to the princess. Yahello asks if a goblin like Reena has a crest. Varys agrees, asking if that is odd. Yahello apologizes, saying that in his kingdom, they had learned that only humans have crests. Varys says that even he has a crest, which is called a sorcery crest. Yahello says that this is an incredible crest to have. One of his brothers has it too. Varys agrees, but says that it is useless for goblin like him who cannot use magic. However, it was thanks to that he was able to further his studies without wallowing in the crest power. Yahello wants to do something about it, but Varys stops him, saying that this is a pointless conversation. He says that his plan is more important. Varys planned to reclaim the land from the sea to expand the island. With more territory comes more crops, and they should also create a bigger space where the kids can play. He asks if he can have the raw materials, so he would be able to build up the idea into reality. Yahello says that he wants to try something and asks Varys to leave the matter to him. He says that Varys thought of the process, so it is fine. He can use the workshop outside of the cave, and with that the crest activated the workshop and built rock blocks by combing stone and sand to make the gravel. Next, he placed the blocks in the planned locations, surprising everyone. Yahello then used the water magic to remove the seawater, filled it with rock and gravel, and covered the surface with cave spider dirt. After the work is done, he asks will that do for now surprise everyone with the beauty of the newly made territory. When he ran out of dirt, he used stone to make something like a public square. The Comrades run towards the land, making Yahello worry about them. He says that it is still dangerous. However, he guesses that it is all right if they are just running around. Reena thanks Yahello for the land he made and says that she is sure they can grow new great crops here. Yahello agrees with a smile, saying that he will be looking forward to it. Reena and Yahello are talking when a giant bird comes and takes Mappa, with it shocking everyone out of horror. The group of birds comes to catch more of Yahello's comrades when Yahello orders everyone to get back to the cave. Everyone runs towards the cave when a kid falls. Few makes him get up and run towards the cave while Yahello tries to stop the boards. Reena gets worried after seeing Yahello trying to stop the birds. One of the birds comes close to the kids when Elvin comes to the rescue and makes the bird vanish from the world for good. Yahello is surprised to see what has happened. Few hides behind Elvin when Elvin asks him to go inside. She runs inside the cave and Elvin marches off and beats all the birds together, removing them from the surface of the earth. Yahello is shocked to see Elvin in action. He is strong and tremendous. This is the power of a general from the Belden tribe. He encourages Elvin for the amazing work he did and helps him out. Just then, he gets another shock when he sees Reena using the magic of shield. She says that she can protect them as well and asks them to do what they must. Yahello thanked her for the support and got back to the defense. They don't know which one swallowed Mappa, so they decide to aim for the heads. Varys announces that everyone has taken shelter and asks them to hurry up and come back as soon as possible. Elvin says that he will take the rear and asks Yahello and Reena to take the entrance. Just then, Yahello remembers the Heartstone and realizes that he knows who is perfect to protect the cave. He uses the Heartstone to make a doll. The cave's king makes the large-sized doll golem within no time. Yahello orders the golem to protect the cave. Just then, the bird who swallowed Mappa throws him out. Now they don't have to worry about anything and vanish the birds for good. Yahello asks Elvin if he can gather the birds. Elvin says to leave it to him and gathers all the birds together with the help of a rope that was made from spider silk. He says that the rope won't break. Yahello asks them to get down and uses the blizzard magic to throw the birds out of the side. He looks at them to see that they are leaving. Just like that, the cave has been saved yet again with all the people secured. Elvin is happy to see the great work Yahello has done. Reena runs towards Yahello asking if he is all right. She apologizes, saying that she was scared, but he is with her. Yahello says that this is his first time fighting a monster too. Both of them laugh at each other when Varys says that he is glad to see that they are all right. They look around to see that everyone gathers around them. Yahello is happy to see how much people care about him. He wonders if he can become kind of like an actual feudal lord. They talk about if they can eat the bird. Reena says that they can and tells them that it tastes good. So, Yahello decides that they will be eating the roasted meat today while going back inside the cave. With that said, the goblins prepare the food. They cut the bird into small pieces, then wash the meat and roast some of it while the remaining is used to make the gravy. Elvin says that he wants to thank their boss over here and points at Yahello. After the food was prepared for the night, they defended and succeeded against the birds. They had an unprecedented banquet. Reena asks Yahello to dig in and eat the food. He takes some of the meat and thinks that he has never eaten a monster meat before, but the smell and its color look promising. He takes his first bite and realizes that there is no doubt that it tastes amazing. Reena is happy to see Yahello enjoying his food. She says that they also have soup. He tries the soup too and likes it a lot. He questions if it is the same meat. Reena explains that such kinds of birds taste completely different depending on which part of the meat they eat. The wings and legs taste like chicken, the chest tastes like beef, and the shoulders taste like pork. Yahello is surprised to hear that one bird can taste like 3 animals. He says that it will be dangerous if the birds come back again, but they can also see it as a good source of food. He says that they have golems standing outside the cave watching for now. Varys says that the birds do not attack those who are bigger than them. He says that he will put together a guard unit. Perhaps it would be a good idea to also build walls and watchtowers. It also serves to protect the fields from salt damage. Yahello agrees with Varys, saying that he can lead the stone processing to him and asks him to take care of the planning. Just then, Fu comes beside Yahello and sits nearby eating the leg of the bird. She stares at him. Yahello looks at her thinking that he is pretty sure that she is Elvin's daughter. But before he could say anything, she says that her name is Full, the name he gave him. He apologizes and asks if she needs anything. She asks why he is so strong. He questions what she means by strong. He says if she is talking about the magic, then it is because of the stones that he mined. He dug up the stones that increased the magic power, and he became stronger. Full asks if this place has stone like that. She questions if she can dig too. Reena says that to use magic, goblins need to use a change stone to evolve and change their bodies. Full says that she wants to evolve. Yahello asks if is it that simple to evolve. He says that they don't have change stones. Elvin comes in asking Full to stop bothering Reena and Yahello. He asks her to stop speaking in such a rude way. He apologizes to Yahello and Reena on behalf of his daughter, Full. He says that she keeps going on about wanting to be stronger. Yahello says that it can't be helped with a father as strong as Elvin. Elvin is shocked to hear such words from Yahello and asks if he thinks he is really strong. Yahello encourages Full, saying that if she wants a change stone, she should dig. If she finds one, she can use it. Fuller gets excited and asks if he is sure about it. He assures her to dig and use the stone if she finds one. She gets excited and runs away, saying that she is good at digging. She says she will be of great help. She goes to Mappa to ask for a new tool for her. Elvin asks if Yahello is sure about it. Yahello says that having more people who can use magic will be good for them. Yahello thinks that for now 800 magic stones will be fine for Reena and uses them on her. He tells her that he just used some magic stones on her to increase her magic power. Reena is happy to hear that and tells Hyle that she is going to do her best to improve. Elvin says that she will get better at it, but first, she needs to get strong and offers her some more food. He asks her to start eating well. Today, they finished the land reclamation and got to eat tasty meat. They had a Thanksgiving feast, and this day became the first Memorial Day in the Shield Reef. The next day, Hyle gets the flu after going inside the freezer that was built to preserve large amounts of food. It was Reena's idea. They put all the meat in the fridge. The goblins say that this will preserve the food for them. Reena tells Hyle that they can get out of the fridge now. With that, they leave the fridge and close the door. One of the goblins says that the fridge will be helpful as the meat won't spoil. Reena agrees with him, saying that back in the continent, food would keep for over half a year when preserved in frozen caves. Mappa wanted a big steel door, but he also had complaints about the facilities. Hyle asked him if he wanted him to shape a stone like a steel door while looking at the drawing made by Mappa, who turns out to be pretty good in drawing. The forge was renovated too. Reena says that she will freeze occasionally to make sure that the ice doesn't melt away. Reena has been becoming more confident recently. Thanks to Elvin and Varys, the outer defenses are coming along nicely. Now, Hyle can focus on mining. Full says that she is surprised nothing bad happened all this time when they were doing renovations. Hyle agrees with her, but gets a little nervous at her comment. Full says that the Cave King is really amazing. She says that she knows that the light optimizes his mining and lets him avoid cave-ins, but not knowing anything about mining is just too careless. Hyle agrees with her in this regard, as he has been just depending on the Crest advisor all along. She says that they need some ventilation as this dust isn't good for the lungs. She asks if Hyle mines coal too. She says that if the gas accumulates, he might be poisoned or, worst case scenario, explode. Hyle questions about the explosion. Full says that there is a device to send in the air from the outer side, so they should ask the old man, Mappa, to make it for them. Hyle agrees with Full, saying that she knows a lot about mining. Full says that she has been working since she was little. She shows him her crest, which is a miner's crest. She says that it doesn't hold a candle to his Cave King, but she can mine too. Hyle says that that is reassuring. He asks her to let him know if she notices anything else. Full is experienced, so she lags in quantity and speed, but she is efficient, and her intuition for digging up ore is outstanding. He feels like she is his greatest rival since Turin. Full and Hyle get back to mining when Full asks him if he has a father. Hyle is taken aback by the question. He says that he did. She says that she is sure he is a great man. In reality, Hyle is scared of his father and of his brothers too. He has indeed acquired incredible magic power, but this is a family with boundless power that dwarfs even what he has. Hyle asks Full if she wants to be stronger like her father, Elvin. Full denies it, but her expression says it all. She is very easy to read. Just then, she digs a little further to find a cave hollow. She says that she did it and thinks that there is something. They go into the hollow place inside the cave. Full is excited to see such a huge hollow space. She asks if the change stone was in a stone room like this. Hyle agrees while he looks around. He sees some statues surrounding them. He asks Full to wait when suddenly, one of the statues tries to compete with them. Hyle uses his shield magic to cover himself and Full. He asks if she is all right. He is surprised to see golems inside the cave. He says that the one he sued cannot use magic. They run outside a hollow area to defend themselves from the golems. Just then, the statue-like golem opposes them with the help of a sharp tool. Hyle is shocked to see the tool. The golems surround him and Full. Hyle is left with no choice but to compete against the golems. He uses his storm magic to get rid of the golems. With the help of magic, the golems fly away and break into pieces. He looks at Full, asking if she is all right. Full apologizes to Hyle for rushing ahead without thinking. He tells her that it is not her fault. She says that it exceeded his expectations the moment these golems appeared. He orders Shell to go and signal everywhere to suspend the mining activities, while Hyle and Full collect the stones. Full finds a stone and asks Hyle if a golden stone is a change stone. He asks her to let him see. The stone turns out to be the sorcery stone, which can store magic. It can also be used to create dolls. He tells her that the stone is different from the change stone, which depresses her a little. Just then, Mappa comes in, scaring Hyle. He takes all the sharp tools away from the golem, making Hyle wonder what he is trying to do. Full says that he seems to be happy at least. She asks how long Mappa is going to stay like this. She asks if all humans are like this. Hyel says that not many are like Mappa, but he has never seen Mappa excited. Hyel tries to take a sharp tool but is not able to move it. He says that the golem tool won't even budge. Full and Hyel both try to make it move but to no avail. Hyel then decides to collect it, but the Crest inventory says that currently, Cave King cannot collect anything aside from mineral and mined items. He realizes that the processed things are no good. He tries to mine the tool, but he cannot break it. Full says that it won't work, but Hyel is reluctant and says that he is not done yet. He tries to mine the tool and breaks Mappa's special tool in the process. However, he can retrieve a new material called Orichalcum, which is lighter and stronger than the metal. It can enchant the magic effects too. He wonders why, if it is lighter than the metal, then why he is not able to lift it. They go out to find a crowd of goblins. Hyel asks Reena what is going on. She tells him that Mappa brought a tool and everyone is trying to lift it, but it can't be lifted. Hyel says that the tool is made out of 300 orichalcum. Full says to his father to stop trying to lift the tool. However, Elvin can lift the tool, shocking everyone with his powers. Hyel sees Elvin's crest, which turns out to be Warrior Crest. Now he can understand why Elvin is so strong. Just then, the tool slips from his hand and falls, making him pass out. Everyone rushes towards him to see if he is right. Hyel uses his healing magic to heal Elvin and assure everyone that he thinks he is all right. Elvin wakes up with pain. Hyel says that he is a tough guy, but that was dangerous. Just then, Full runs towards his father crying, saying that he is an idiot for doing such a thing. She is very worried about him. He apologizes to his daughter for being too careless and promises to be more careful. On the other hand, Mappa gets busy utilizing the tool made up of orichalcum. The legendary race dwarfs like to use rare minerals. Dwarves have incredible physical strength, mysterious techniques, and noble spirits. Hyel goes to Mappa to ask if he is all right. But before he could say anything, Mappa offered Hyel a new tool. He asks if he can hold it and take it from Mappa. The new tool created by Mappa is lightweight and is called an orichalcum ice axe. Afterward, Mappa made all sorts of orichalcum tools. He is surely the real deal, and there is no doubt about it. Everyone tries the new tools created by Mappa and compares them to the older tools. The goblins are stunned to see that even General Elvin's axe didn't work on the new tools. Elvin gets excited and asks to bring more for him. On the other hand, Full stands there watching his father doing all kinds of stunts. Hyel comes in saying that the air inside the cave feels much fresher now. Thanks to the ventilation hole that Full recommended and Mappa's rotating blades that use tidal energy, the fresh air is constantly being sent here. Full and Hyel want to get back to mining now, but they never know when they will dig up something dangerous. Full decides to go to the forge, while Hyel thinks that for everyone to be able to mine safely, he decides to create a new guard of golems. He used 14 artificial hearts and 10 magic stones. He says that Mappa can make the equipment while he is at it. He is going to make the golems a little more intricate. He is about to make a new golem by saying that he wants to make a super ultra max golem DX, but stops abruptly, thinking if he got carried away. He thinks that the defensive power of the orichalcum equipment tool for close range and another tool for long ranges would be good. He is thinking about all this when Reena comes behind him. She tries to listen to what he is saying, which startles him. She apologizes for startling him and says that he seemed to be very focused, so she didn't want to disturb him. She asks if he has some time. He asks what it is. She asks him to come with her. Hyel says that it is rare for her to put on an air like this. Reena smiles, saying that it is more fun if he sees for himself. With that, both of them go together outside the cave when Reena tells them that they are here. Hyel looks around only to find a beautiful garden of apples and grapes, and now they also have lemons and palm trees. He encourages Reena for the amazing work she has done. Reena, on the other hand, is glad to hear that he likes her work. She says that they still don't have enough for everyone, so she had an idea. She uses the break magic and gives one of the palm trees a shake, which causes many coconuts to fall. She then flies into the air and, by using her new karate skills, manages to break the coconuts in half, shocking Hyel of her amazing skills. She mixes the lemon juice and coconut juice with water and says that this way they can all enjoy it in moderation. She offers Hyel a glass of the freshly made juice. Hyel drinks the juice, thinking that he knew she was learning martial arts from Elvin, but he is stunned to see her do it in front of her. He wonders where did she get all this power from. He likes the juice that she made and tells her about it. He says that it is refreshing, sweet, and has just the right acidity. He says that it is even better than regular juice. Just then, General Elvin arrives asking Hyle if he could restart the mining process. He says he can do that, but then sees a giant ball-like structure in Elvin's hand. He asks what is this shell. Elvin says that it is a Satan shell. He says that he took it down earlier in the back of the island. He says to be careful when he finds one. This thing's shell even repelled his axe. It is easy if he just forces it to open. Varys says that this only works due to the general's incredible strength and asks others not to copy it. Varys pours a liquid, making Hyle question its origin. Varys replies saying that this is the numbing potion that is used by the Satan shell on its prey. Depending on how it is processed, it can be dangerous poisonous. He gives it to Mappa, who passes out. While Hyle tries to heal Mappa, Varys says that he is only joking. They can harvest Tyrian purple dye from it. Hyle wonders if even Varys can tell jokes. The birds, Satan shells, and ancient golems are the dangers they have encountered so far. To protect his domain, both from the outside and underground, Hyle created 14 new golems that would be managed by General Elvin. The number 6 to number 15 golems have magic stones. He had 2 learn the defense of magic, and 2 learn one of 4 attributes. Hyle goes to the back side of the island when the goblin announces from the watchtower that they have a new trouble. He says that there are more Satan shells. They ask where the Satan shells are, to which they get the reply that they are at the part where the wall is not finished yet. There are so many of them, more than 50. Hyle asks Varys about the Satan shell's weakness. Varys explains that they can resist heat and cold, but they cannot withstand lightning. He asks Elvin to leave this to him as he wants to test the new golems. Elvin agrees, asking Hyle to call him right away if there is some trouble. Hyle asks Reena if she knows the lightning magic, to which she agrees and asks Hyle to leave it to her. He calls the number 1 golem and stands on it along with Reena. He orders the 6, 7, 14, and 15 golems to move forward. They come in front of the Satan shells. The Satan shells march off to beat the golems when Hyle orders the 6th and 7th golem guards. The golems defend themselves and beat down the Satan shell, making them fly away. Reena uses the lightning magic on the Satan shells to make them vanish for good. Elvin is excited to see the scene, saying that the princess can go. Varys says that large golems are like mobile forts. Reena manages to take down the Satan shells. Seeing this, Hyle encourages her for her great work. He orders 14 and 15 golems to come forward and defend. As ordered, the golems come forward and easily beat the Satan shells, while Reena uses the lightning magic in them. The Satan shell uses the purple liquid on the golems, which the golem are easily able to defend because of the magic. They make the Satan shells fly away again, while Reena uses the lightning magic to weaken them. The goblins are excited and happy to see the golem's defense system. They say that the golems don't let the Satan shell's numbing liquid reach Hyle. They say that it will be settled quicker than they thought, and with just one final blow, all the Satan shells are removed. The golems that can use magic are really strong. Reena did more than he had expected. Reena says that they should take the meat to the freezer before it spoils. Hyle agrees and asks number 1 golem to put them down and carry them to. Hyle is talking to the golem when some more Satan shells come in and throw their numbing potion at him. Reena sees it and comes to the rescue, saving Hyle from the potion. However, Reena gets the potion, all her resulting in a numbed body. She is not able to move at all. Hyle uses his curing magic to heal, and she gets up in no time. She thanks Hyle for helping her, while he thanks her back for saving him. He looks at her to see the sticky numbing potion of the Satan shell on her. He says that it must feel gross and offers to bring water for her. However, Reena says that she can do that. Just then, they look at the Satan shell, and Hyle wonders what the white ball-like structure is inside the shell. Reena explains that it is a pearl. It is an amazing find, as the Satan shell's pearls are especially rare. Hyle takes the pearl in his hand and takes a closer look. He offers Reena to have the pearl. He says that he really doesn't understand the value of jewels, and he thinks that it suits her. Reena takes the pearl and looks at it. She gets surprised and hesitantly gives the pearl back to her, saying that she can't have it yet. Hyle looks at her with confusion, thinking that it looks like he can't just give this to her. The next day, Heil decided to take a break from mining after some time. Full says that she will be going a bit more and continue with her digging. Heil allows her and asks her to make sure she doesn't forget to eat. Full agrees, saying that the princess's food is great. Heil ordered number 15 to ring the bell if something happened. With the golems protecting, they restarted their mining. The 15th golem was also given the captain crown that was made by Mappa. Full has much more vigor than everyone else. After some time, Reena thanks everyone for waiting for her and announces that today they will be having a Satan Shell full course. She asks them not to hold back as they have a lot. It seems like the Satan Shell nested somewhere near and they kept coming. Thanks to this, they got good food, dyes, and strong shells, but the currents around the shield reef brought them more than just blessings. Afterward, Heil goes to look at the Tyran purple. He says that it looks better than the ones the nobles use. The goblins say that they will be using this cloth to make things such as clothes. Just then, Elvin comes in. Varys and Heil asked him to check it out, and it came out beautiful. However, their smiles and laughter soon fade away when they look at Elvin. He asks Heil to come with him to the reclaimed land. They all go to the reclaimed land where someone is washed up. The goblins are horrified to see an orc. Elvin says that he was caught in the embankment, so they pulled him here. He says that the seal he has is a proof that he belongs to the same tribe that destroyed their hometown. The goblin gets irritated by the orc's presence. They ask Elvin why he saved him, as he is one of those who destroyed their families and homes. They beat the bone structure of the orc, saying that he deserves it. Heil calls Elvin and Varys, but they do not know what to do in such a state. This orc is an enemy of the Belden tribe. Heil does not have the right to stop them. However, someone does ask them to stop it, and turns out to be none other than Princess Reena. She says that kicking a bone structure is a disgrace. She asks if the Belden tribe loses even its pride. The goblins say that what the orcs did to their tribe. They even used the king's bone structure to set an example. She says that even then, it doesn't mean that they should act the same way, and Heil should be the one to decide how to deal with those that drift into this island. She apologizes to Heil for her comrades. He thanks Reena for standing up. He says that right now, he is the chief of this island and the people who live here. He says that he knows they are all frustrated and he gets that they want to vent, but he doesn't want them to do something like humiliating someone who doesn't even exist in this world anymore. He has to take responsibility for it. He apologizes to everyone by lowering his head and asking them to listen to his selfish request and contain their anger. The goblins are shocked to see this and ask him to raise his head. They say that he is putting them in a bind here. He asks Varys to handle the orc. Varys agrees, saying that he will do it if that is what he wants. They are about to end the matter here, but it didn't end here. They pulled in 24 bone structures, and not just orcs, there were also kobolds. They are bitter enemies and fought with the orcs too. Heil questions if the orcs and kobold have an opposition. Varys asks why they use such a remote place like this. Elvin says that this is all very strange. He says that they all have wounds because of the opposition, but some have really horrible wounds. They have scars that could never have been caused without an axe. He says that he thinks that it was all done by fangs, but he has never seen one that big. He adds that there is a body that looks like half of it was blown away by the extreme heat. He says Heil if he can do something like that with the blaze magic. Heil asks if he is saying that they were attacked by something else. Elvin says that he doesn't know, but for now, let's tighten their guard and watch out for armed ships. Heil agrees, saying that it is all very unclear, but he doesn't want to worry everyone. Heil tasked Varys with taking care of the washed-up bodies and Elvin with the defenses. On the other hand, Reena and Heil look for things they could use. Heil does feel bad, but it is necessary to survive on this island where they can only mine. Reena says that everything is in terrible condition. Heil says that it will be hard to fix everything. He hears something and asks Reena if she said something. She says she didn't say anything. Just then they hear another voice coming and look for it. It turns out that it is coming from a treasure box. Reena tries to open the box but fails. Heil looks at it and says that the box has a lock. He uses his pick magic and opens the box. When he opens it, something jumps out of the box, scaring them. It turns out to be a cute puppy. Heil doesn't know what to do about it and asks Reena for help. She complies and takes the puppy away from Heil. Heil takes off his jacket, asking that it is stained on the inside. He looks at Reena only to find her laughing at him. She apologizes and says that she will wash it. He wonders about the puppy. Reena says that she thinks it is a kobold. She says that a baby isn't guilty of anything. She is sure that everyone will understand. A baby kobold who is also known to be Goblin's enemy, Hare is not sure about this one, but for now, he guesses they will have to look after it. The next day, Hyle mines with the help of Nappa's special Orichalcum ice axe, which turns out to be very amazing. He does not have any answer about the opposition on the coastal waters. He doesn't know what to say about Elvin's point of view, but at a time like this, the best thing he can do is to mine. They need to mine raw materials to defend the island. He looks at the inventory to find that he has 3,760 magic stones. He is getting less and less magic stones. He thinks that he has enough for him, but he wants to increase Reena's energy too. And one day, Full and Varys might be able to use the magic too. He thinks that he can't do anything about it if they don't appear. He checks around the inventory and finds a new item in his collection. He looks at it to realize that it is not a stone but a seed. He questions if it got sucked up with the rest because he dug it up. Just then, Full comes in. Hyle asks if she is here to mine too. She denies, saying that there is some issue. The kobold is crying and everyone around him tries to cheer him up, but they fail miserably. Elvin tries to make faces at him so that the baby kobold can keep quiet, but to no avail. Full comes in asking him what he is doing, as it won't help at all. He says that he used to do this with her. Hyle says that he is just scaring him. The baby kobold looks at Hale and runs towards him. Full laughs, saying that the baby kobold was looking for him all this time. Reena says that he started crying after waking up from his nap, and the general was doing that. She says that the kobold probably thinks that Hyle is his father. She says that when he stained him, he was probably marking him. Varys laughs, saying that perhaps it is in their nature to imprint on others while observing the chest in which kobold came. Varys says that it looks shallower than what it looks like on its exterior. He says that he thinks there might be a false bottom. He tries to penetrate through it, but fails even with the help of an orichalcum tool. He says that even though the box is made out of wood, still it is not possible to penetrate through the bottom. Hyle asks Reena to take baby kobold and tries his magic of picking in the bottom of the chest box, only to find out that the bottom is locked up too. They look inside the bottom to find some books called The History of the Tiberus Tribe, Tiberi's Book of Techniques, and Triberus Scriptures. Hyle wonders if Triberus is the name of their tribe. He questions about the white stone that came with it. The Crest advisor tells Hyle that it is a thought stone that is capable of storing thoughts. Elvin asks what does the stone say. Hyle replies, saying that he can't read difficult words either. He looks at Varys only to find him worried. Just then, the thought stone shines bright and a creature comes out of it. Reena is shocked to see a beautiful kobold. The kobold says that if they are listening to this, it must mean that they have undone the chest's seal. She says that she is the queen of the Triberus tribe, Alamina. The one they found inside the chest was her newborn baby. Elvin is horrified to hear about the Triberus tribe. Alamina says that she doesn't have much time left. She says that this may be hard to believe, but their ship is being chased by the legendary beast Leviathan. Their battle with the orcs has left them exhausted, and their magic and armor won't work against it. They have no way to escape from these beasts. She knows that this may be an unreasonable request, but please be her baby's foster parents. All they can offer them as a reward are their 2 strongest warriors, tasked with defending the chest, and their 3 books that are forbidden to outsiders. It seems that she must go. She asks them to take good care of her baby and, if possible, allow her baby to hear her last words one day. She says that she loves him. And with that said, the stone's shine vanishes, leaving everyone too stunned to speak. Elvin is a little angry at the tribe, saying that it is just like the Triberus to leave their kid to someone else. Where's what escort anyway? Reena asks him not to talk like that. He leaves, saying that he will go tell the watchman about this. Hyle says that he guesses they all know about the Triberus tribe. Full explains that the Triberus and the Belden have been in opposition over territory for a long time. She says that her big brother left them alone in this world during the opposition with the Triberus tribe. Hyle understands and says that even after all that, Elvin didn't glare at the baby or do anything to it. Full says that Elvin would never make a child face such circumstances. Varys says that General Elvin blames himself for being unable to protect his son. He says that he also lost a younger brother in the opposition, but he has no grudge against the baby. Hyle says that he thinks he will take care of the baby kobold. He asks if Alamina said the baby's name. Reena says that she only said that it was her baby. She questions if she intentionally omits it, so that the people taking care of him treat him as their own. Hyle asks Reena if she has some good options for the name in that case. Reena suggests Real as the name for baby kobold. Hyle likes it and says that from now his name is Real. Just then the Crest advisor announces the name of completely tamed Real. Hyle thinks that this is not what he was going for, but he guesses it will be good if Real is going to be living here in the cave. Full says that she understands it. Reena tool parts from both their names. Reena gets embarrassed and denies the allegation. Varys says now that this is settled, there is a problem that needs to be addressed. He says that the marks of giant fangs, the body being blown away by extreme heat, a beast that is immune to advanced armor, and magic is none other than Leviathan.
With that said, Hyle and his fellows get ready for something huge. He asks Map if he is sure about this, and with that, with just his fist, Hyle ignites a flame to test out the Orichalcum shield, which turns out to be even stronger with the shielding magic. Hyle is happy to know that the shield is reliable. He then asks Varys and Elvin about their updates. Varys says that Mappa's designs are magnificent. With this, they can defend the island even from the giant monsters. Hyle asks if the Leviathan is that mythical monster, but Elvin says he doesn't believe in that either. The group of soldiers led by Queen Alhemina, who was feared and nicknamed the Witch, was annihilated by a monster hiding nearby, and that much they do know. Just then, Real starts making noises while standing on a higher pillar. Worried, Varys asks Real how he got up there. It is too dangerous for him. But Real doesn't respond as it is trembling with fear. Elvin asks Real if it is stuck over there, and with that, he asks Real to hold on while he climbs towards it and rescues it. Just then, Reena also comes in and asks Real not to bother others while they are working. Elvin falls to the ground while rescuing Real. Worried, Reena quickly holds Real in her arms and asks Elvin if he is alright. Elvin says he thought Real was in the fields with her, and ate the workers' lunch too. Reena explains that Real kept digging up the seeds and was very energetic. Because of this, they lost track of him. Varys tells Reena that kobold children mature quickly, so Real will be walking on 2 legs soon. Hyle remembers something since they are talking about fields and takes out a seed, asking Varys if he knows anything about it. Varys is inspecting the seed when Reena says it is the seed of Yggdrasil. Shocked, Varys asks how she is out of the blue, said Yggdrasil. She says it just slipped into her mouth. Hyle asks Varys if it is his crest. Varys replies saying he has heard that the farmer crest bestows knowledge about plants. Still, Yggdrasil does know about that. It is a giant tree that blesses all kinds of living beings. But it is just an old tale. Elvin also confirms if it is just an old story, to which Varys agrees, but he also adds that the Change Stone was also a tale that was found on this island. With that, Hyle decides to go mining and create a passageway. He tells Reena that they have a good opportunity since the reclaimed land has become a defensive base of sorts, but it was supposed to be a field. He checks his repository to find out that he has enough materials. He tells the spider family that he is counting on them. His retrieval function only works inside the cave, so he needs help moving dirt outside. He has done it before, so he is used to it. And that evening, they finished the new reclaimed land. With that, they decide to plant the Yggdrasil seed. As they are adding soil on the ground, he looks at Reena pouring some seeds, so he naturally asks about it. Reena explains that they are flower seeds from their hometown. She thought they would look pretty here, so decided to plant them. Hyle thinks it is a nice idea and turns around to continue his work when he gets startled by Mappa sitting next to him. He thinks Mappa should at least say something when he is here. Just then, Reena calls Heal and says the plant has already sprouted. Surprised, he asks if Reena used the sunstone, but she says otherwise. He then asks Mappa if he did something, but he denies doing anything as well. Heal suggests using the sunstone on the plant. Reena agrees and uses the stone, because of which the little plant grows into a mature tree in a matter of seconds. They think that the growth has stopped, but are surprised when they realize the plant keeps growing. Heel asks Reena if she is sure she used only one stone, to which she agrees. Realizing the tree is growing continuously, Heel realizes that it is not safe to stay here. He makes everyone run away from the tree as it keeps on growing. However, Mappa gets stuck, the tree take him. Worried, Heel stands there wondering what to do now. Elvin and Varus also notice the noises and get concerned. Soon, the tree is fully grown into a gigantic tree, the Yggdrasil tree. Worried for Mappa, Heel looks around to find his fellow. Reena points it out, letting Heel know that Mappa is buried under a certain trunk. Heel decides to help Mappa while he asks Shell to go and call Varus. On their way to rescue Mappa, Heel says the tree is way too huge. Reena agrees, saying it is like they are going up a mountain. Heel asks Mappa not to worry since they are coming to get him. But when they reach the branch, it turns out Mappa wants to stay there. Reena gets a cold breeze and says she gets how Mappa feels right now. She points out that it smells very nice. Heel agrees, saying he hasn't felt the smell of the forest in a long time. Reena tells Heel that she can feel a great power coming from the tree. Heel is surprised and asks if she can feel it because she is learning magic. Reena says her energy is flowing, and it looks like holy magic around it is expanding. She adds that this tree is full of mysteries. Heel suggests letting Varus investigate the tree too. Just then, Reel comes out of nowhere calling the two. Worried, Heel asks Reel not to wander away since it is dangerous. Reena suggests going a little higher while they are at it. She smiles, saying it is like she has returned to the forest in her hometown, so it would be a waste to go back right away. Heel can understand how Reena is feeling and agrees to explore Yggdrasil along with Reel. And like that, the trio marches off on an adventure to explore the Yggdrasil tree and its wonders. At the end, they reach the top to see the view. Reena is stunned by the beauty of the view. She says she has never seen the island from above. Heel looks at the sea and realizes he can't see any ships. It would be bad if there were any ships from the kingdom. As the two sit together at height enjoying the view, Reena asks Heel why was he alone on this island. This takes Heel by surprise as no one ever asked him about it. She quickly realizes what she has asked and apologizes, saying she should have never asked. But Heel doesn't mind it. He says he never explained it properly. He says he was expelled from his kingdom because he was too powerless. Reena is shocked to hear that. But Heel says she is saying all this because she didn't know him back in the capital while holding the mini bottle he always wears as a necklace. After some land readjustment, the residential area of the servants was left abandoned. He used to sneak out of the castle and read there. Compared to the scornful eyes in the palace, being exposed to the wind wasn't so bad. Just like that, one day he was reading when he found a monster behind the barrel. He was shocked to see a monster all chained up in the capital. However, he soon realized that the monster was covered in wounds or chained. He picked up his book and tried to study how to do healing magic. And like that, he started to sneak out of the castle at night to give food to the monster. He gave it the name Lopes. If someone saw him, they would probably think that he was insane. He tried to free the monster from the chain and pick the lock but couldn't. But he still tried every magic book. But for him, his time with Lopes felt much more humane and fulfilling. He told Lopes that even if he could not unchain it right now, one day he would remove that shackle from around his neck, and it would be able to fly away from here. This is the promise he gave to Lopes. But just after that, he heard someone coming towards them. It turns out to be a person, more than one. He quickly decides to hide, thinking that if someone is here, that means that they are responsible for keeping Lopes in such a terrible state. However, he was shocked to see the shining pale golden hair and snow-white skin on a boy that looked like a beautiful girl. The guy went to see Lopes and said it looked surprisingly well. He guesses, if nothing, Lopes does have plenty of vitality for something so powerless. This guy was none other than the 18th Prince of Sandfales, Orin. In other words, he was Heel's younger brother. Orin used his magic to beat Lopes and injure it very badly. He said that precision is key. It doesn't matter what magic he uses if it doesn't have any effect. And with that, Orin and the rest of the people came here to begin their session and try magic on Lopes. Everyone was practicing magic on Lopes while he was enduring it all while being chained. It was all deliberate. It wasn't just Orin. They were all part of the elite of the Magic Academy. They were damaging Lopes slowly so as not to unearth it. Heel was hiding all alone, listening and seeing everything. He was crying to see his brother and the rest being so evil to Lopes. A point came when Lopes couldn't handle it anymore and fell on the ground, lifelessly. Heel couldn't take it anymore and came out of the hiding spot. He apologized to Lopes for something like this to happen to him. He had been looking after Lopes every day. But his weak healing magic was not enough to heal it completely. And not soon after, he couldn't heal its wounds or remove its shackles. At that rate, Lopes would be unearthed. Orin wasn't that surprised to see Heel. He asked, "What is he doing here?" Worried for his friend, Lopes, Heel asked Orin for a favor. He asked Orin to stop this. He asked if he could let this monster go. But the evil Orin didn't listen. He wore his gloves and beat Heel. He was furious to know that Heel was peeking. He reminded Heel that despite everything, he is still royalty. And as if it weren't enough, he was asking him to let the monster go. He asked Heel to move and called him powerless, or he would turn him into ashes along with Lopes. Heel begged Orin for mercy for Lopes, but Orin didn't listen. Instead, he called Heel bizarre. He told Heel that he can do what he wants. He added that he got bored with this kind of training and is done with the monster. Heel was very happy to see Lopes finally be free. He asked Orin to undo the lock, but Orin replied saying he can do what he wants. If Heel can release the monster from its chains and set it free. But as for him, a monster running around in the capital is something he cannot agree. He should dispose of it quickly. He granted Heel 10 seconds. Heel was shocked. Even then, he tried to prick the lock but failed. With Lopes smiling at him, Orin counted 0 and unearthed Lopes in front of Heel. He then called Heel awful since he could not simply believe he let his dear friend be unearthed before his eyes. Angry, Heel stood up to beat Orin, but Orin used his magic to form a shield. He asked Heel what was he even thinking about doing. Orin said this is not what he asked. He asked Heel if he really thinks someone so powerless can even dare come in contact with him. After that, Heel woke up on a bed in a medical building. He somehow managed to get up and go to that place again. Lopes had been left there. He made a promise he couldn't keep and did nothing as it got vanished before his eyes. He looks at the mini bottle he is wearing as a necklace and says this is the real him. But Reena says she already knew it. He isn't powerless at all. Whether it is them, the Belden tribe, real, and Lopes too, he is always doing his best to help others. She started crying after saying this. She apologizes to know that he went through so much pain. Concerned, Heel gives Reena his handkerchief to clean her tears while wondering why did he tell her this. Did he just want someone to listen? He realizes that he wants to tell Reena. After that, the two descend to see that all the flowers are already blooming. The flower from Reena's hometown and the one that was just planted, everything is flourishing. They are happy to see Real playing around. Reena tells Heel that she knows he probably can't erase the regret he feels about Lopes. She asks him not to forget that when something is troubling him, she and the rest are always there for him. She lets him know that he isn't alone anymore. Heel thanks her while the rest join them in the garden. Later, Heel asked Varus to investigate, and it turns out the leaves can be used to make salve and nice tea. The sap is sweet too, but too much can put people in a daze like Mappa, so some caution is necessary. And the branches are not only very tight, but also so strong, they could barely process it with Orichalcum tools. They tried using them to make axe handles and stuff like that. Yggdrasil branches have a fatigue reduction effect as well since Full didn't get tired when she used axes with Yggdrasil branch handles. This giant tree has blessings on all sorts of beings. Looking at that field of flowers makes Heel look forward to harvesting the new crops too. Their life on the island is getting richer and richer. Heel puts Reel to sleep and lays on the bed wondering what will he do tomorrow. As he is about to sleep, Reel wakes up crying. Worried, Heel holds Reel and asks if it is all right. The other people also come in as they hear Reel crying. Heel tells Reena that Reel was having a nightmare. Reena holds Reel to check up on him when Reel's left eye forms a crest. Everyone gets a flash memory of something that is about to happen. They can see Alhemina competing with the monsters of the sea. After that, Heel is sweating. He asks Reena if she also saw it, to which she agrees. Varus inspects the crest and declares that this is a clairvoyance. He adds that though the full extent of its ability are unknown, it clearly deserves its fame as the divine eye that can see through anything. Shocked, Heel asks if what they saw was the power of clairvoyance. Varus agrees, stating it must have shown us Reel's parting with their mother. Clairvoyance affected the entire island. All the Sheol citizens witnessed the terrifying Leviathan. They asked Heel if that horrible beast Leviathan heading here too. They wonder what will happen if it is aimed at the Sheol. The people were worried and terrified by what was going to happen if Leviathan came their way. Standing there, Heel listened to everyone while wondering if he will be able to protect everyone if the Leviathan appears. But before he could say anything, Elvin shouted and asked everyone to listen up. He asked why they all looked like the world was ending. He asks them to remember everything they have been through. With Chief in the lead, as long as they are united as one, nothing has ever stumped them. They all look at Heel with hope in their eyes. Heel musters up his courage and asks everyone to stay calm and listen. The Leviathan might not aim Sheol, but they should prepare either way. Even if they are against a legendary beast like Leviathan, if they compete together, he is sure they will find a way. He asks everyone to lend him their strength. Later, heavy rain starts to pour while Heel and his fellows go inside to brainstorm about what they should do. Heel says given what the Kobold Queen went through, they should assume that his spells won't work either. He asks Mappa if the Orichalcum tools can defeat Leviathan, but Mappa doesn't give much of a satisfactory response. Varus looks and Map and says they can also consider weathering the storm. With its massive body, he doubted the Leviathan would try to squeeze into the deeper tunnels. Varus asks Heel if he recalls the large hall where they found the golems. It is perfect size for a shelter later. They can build a cold room next to it and make it their stronghold. Elvin asks what if that thing slams into the island. The entire cave might collapse then. He suggests finding a way to compete and defend themselves properly. But Heel has his idea. With that said, he decides to mine a little as he believes their fate can be decided after that. He states he will mine a new material. Until now, their island has advanced the most when they have discovered new underground. The rocky depths of Sheol are still filled with mysteries. Who is here to say we couldn't find something effective against the Leviathan? He asks his fellows. He adds that it will be a shot in the dark. But Reena thinks Heel made a good point. Varus and Elvin also agree with Heel. Reena suggests Heel to bring Reel along. Though Reel hasn't mastered its crest yet, she is certain clairvoyance will aid his search. With that, Full, Heel, and Reel go to do some mining. However, when Full checks up on Reel, it is fast asleep in Heel's bag. Heel laughs, saying he is sure Reel will wake up at some point. And then, they decide to start working. Full agrees, saying this is the miner squad's chance to show off their skills. And like that, their defense strategy against the Leviathan began. They pulled out all the stops. Thanks to Yggdrasil, they have plenty of lumber on hand. They fortified at top speed and closed in on the finish line. Just after that, Reel also wakes up and hopes out of the bad. Heel asks if it found something, but Reel simply runs towards something. Though Reel was a fickle once, clairvoyance indeed granted them the ability to see through rocks. Sometimes they would locate ore veins. They didn't find anything new, but Reel was a big help. A few weeks passed by in a blur, and one day, Reel started scratching the floor like crazy. Full asked if it wanted them to dig there. Heel was a bit skeptical at first since his crest didn't mark that area. He wondered if it was safe to dig there, but he finally said that Reel must have found something. As long as he is very careful, nothing wrong will happen. With that, he decides to dig, and with just one aim, the floor cracks open and Heel slides down the pit right below. At the bottom of the pit was a giant golem. He tells Full that they are safe. The golem is missing a heartstone. Its armor seems to be orichalcum, but the sword is made of something else. It looks like a shiny silver claymore. Full looks at the golem saying it is pretty, but it is giving her the creeps. Heel suggests checking this thing out. He decides to aim at the sword, but nothing happens. Heel is shocked to see nothing happen to the sword. Full is also confused and wonders what is the sword made of. Just then, Mappa senses something and quickly runs to check Heel, scaring Heel in the process. He asks Mappa why does he always shows up with no warnings, but Mappa is more concerned about the sword right now. He bows to the sword and moves around in excitement. Heel is also confused since he didn't see Mappa reacting like this to the orichalcum. With that, Mappa takes the sword away. Heel says Mappa is probably going to melt it down and decides to follow him. Once there, Mappa asks everyone to increase the heat. Heel asks someone why is Mappa doing this, to which the guy responds saying Mappa is saying it is not hot enough. Reena also comes in and asks what might that large sword be. Heel asks Reena to help her out since he knows what it is. He says that if they combine their spells and the heat of the furnace, the temperature will rise. And as expected, his plan works. The workers bring the sword to chuck it. They ask others to keep the heat going with everything they have. After some time, the sword was melted. When Heel stored some of the molded ingots, it turns out the sword was made of mithril, left behind by the divine. This metal is the hardest in existence. It can even slay gods. It may be improved through enchanting. Heel realizes that he was able to find something good to compete with the beast because of Reel. He is sure that Starkers will turn this mithril into the best tool possible. And now, finally, their wall is done as well. They have practically built a fortress at this point. They got to do everything against that thing. That is right. Their enemy is a beast of legend. They have to try every strategy and tool they can think of. This is Sheol's first official opposition. After a tiring day, Heel is going back to his room when he notices Elven talking to Reel. Just then, Reena comes in and asks Heel to be quiet. Elven is apologizing to Reel. He says he shouldn't have bad-mouthed off about his mother. As the general of the Verdant tribe, he will say that Reel's mom was a great warrior. He asks Reel to watch. He swears that they will avenge its mom. They all put in their best effort. If the Leviathan truly shows up, Heel will trust in their strength, in Sheol's combined strength. As Heel is looking at Elven, the emergency bell rings. Everyone goes out to see what is going on. It turns out they have spotted ships, and not just any ships. Varus gives a telescope to Heel for a clear view. Upon checking, Heel realizes that it is the same flag. It is the orcs that aimed at Reena's tribe. He wonders if these ships are the survivors. Angry, Elven asks if they also want to invade this island as well. He says he will make them regret it this time. Upon some more looking, it turns out the ships are competing against something. Reel comes in and its eye glows, showing Heel that there is something monstrous in the sea. Everyone is shocked to the core when they see Leviathan with their own eyes for the very first time. The creature's black silhouette is a shadowy pillar that pierces the heavens. Its fluids-curdling howl causes even the ocean to tremble and froth in agony. Leviathan is finally here in front of Heel's island. The ships openly aim at the monster, but nothing affects the monster at all, not even a single scratch. Heel is worried as it will sink the other ships too. Just then, Elven rings the bell and asks everyone not to just stand there and get ready for the opposition. He asks them to go to their positions as they drilled. He says he is not trying to save them, the orcs, or anything. It is just that the Leviathan's distracted. They can't miss this opening. Heal agrees and asks Full to tell everyone in the cave to evacuate. Full leaves before asking Heal and the rest not to unearth themselves while competing with the beast. Varus asks everyone to prepare the heavy ballista. The people start to bring out the heavy ballista. Elvin announces that it is time for Starker's masterpiece, the Mithril Bolt Head. Nothing in this world can stop this thing. With that, 6 people are set to the left and 3 up. After fixing the position of the arrow, it is finally aimed at the Leviathan. However, to their surprise, the Leviathan very easily escapes the arrow. Shocked, Heal wonders how can the Leviathan be so fast with such a bulky body. But Elvin tells Heal that this is good news. The Leviathan didn't care about the cannon fire, but this time it ran away. It is proof that they can defeat it if they reach a proper aim. With that, he asks Heal to ready the next bolt. Heal lets Reena know that he will stall it with the golems. He asks her to prepare the spell as planned. With that, he uses the golem units 10 and 11. He asks them to use their ice. Units 12 and 13 unleash their wind, and like that, a mega blizzard is launched. However, the Leviathan is not affected by it as it is still coming. Heal says that if they freeze the ocean around the Leviathan, it cannot move. Heal asks Units 6 and 7 to manifest their most powerful shield diagonally. They can't take a direct strike. Deflect it. The Leviathan ignites his fire and aims at the island. The shield protects them for a bit, but soon it starts to crack. The shield doesn't last long enough and shatters into pieces, damaging the golems in the process. Reena tells Heal that the Leviathan is approaching again. She also tells Elvin that the heavy ballista is ready. Elvin was waiting for this. Heal thinks that the beast is charging with no hesitation. It must be confident that it can dodge them even at this range. Elvin orders to release the invisible bolt. Fortunately, the arrow succeeds in its mission this time. The people get excited, but Elvin stops them from getting so overly excited about it since they only landed one. They also release some more arrows with ropes attached to them. They're special ropes woven with both spider silk and steel threads. He asks Leviathan not to even think about escaping into the sea. Heal orders Units 1 to 5 to do their work. The golems release their hands with chains attached to them. With that, the Leviathan is surrounded by chains from all directions. The beast tries to leave. Because of its power, people start worrying if the gears are going to break. Heal tells Elva that they don't have much time. The bolt notches. Elvin orders it to nail its head and finish it. To their surprise, Leviathan releases sea stalkers at the golem. They are parasitic monsters that latch onto large marine creatures. They were lurking within its scales. Worried, Heal asks Unit 1 to protect themselves. He asks archers to beat the sea stalkers, and they are even scaling their walls. He asks not to let the sea stalker up. Soon, the Leviathan also releases itself from all the chains. Reena is shocked to see spikes on Leviathan's spine. And this time, it is not like the heat beam from earlier. The Leviathan glows with fire. Worried, Heal asks everyone to get behind the shield. Heal and Reena make the shield one more time. Reena encourages Heal that he can do this, and so does Heal. Fortunately, they make it through for a second. But then, the beast uses his tail and breaks the huge wall with just a single blow. The people under shelter also feel the wall breaking since everything starts shaking. The children starts crying and the women calm them down. One of the kids asks if they are going to lose their home again. But her mom tells her that she is sure Heal and the others will defeat that monster. On the other hand, because of the damage to the wall, Heal flies back, but Seal saves him. Unit 6 and Unit 7 get injured while saving him. Heal stands up to see that no one is here. Worried, he asks where is everyone. He calls Elvin, Varus, Starkers, Terran, and Reena, but no one responds. The sea stalkers crawl on the island and keep coming closer to Heal. Heal cannot let the sea stalkers invade the cave. He uses his thunder, but his spell loses its punch. Just then, someone aims at the sea stalkers, saving Heal. It turns out to be Reena flying via a broom and asks Seal to run. She then comes down to beat the sea stalkers with her own hands. She beats every single sea stalker that tries to come forward. She says she is not going to let them do any damage to Heal. Heal is more than excited to see Reena safe. She asks if he is injured or something like that. A bunch of arrows come their way. It turns out it is Varus trying to protect Heal. He orders everyone to follow Reena's orders. Quickly, they come to protect Heal. Elvin apologizes to Heal for holding up. Heal is glad that everyone is alive. Angry, Leviathan ignites fire from its mouth and comes closer to the island. It crushes the large golem like a fly. Heal suggests going with their other plan, but Reena says it is way too dangerous. Heal says now that the Leviathan is on the land, it is their best chance. Reena asks Heal to lend her his hand. She says her mana is also running low, but she will entrust it to him. She asks him to promise her that he will win no matter what. Heal agrees, and the Leviathan is about to strike again. The beast is about to ignite the fire once again when Heal lets the beast know his position. Angry, the beast flashes with fire. Heal hops on Terran and asks her to run as fast as she can while Leviathan follows them. He asks her to run to the spot they agreed on. Reena says all they can do now is put their faith in Heal. But Elvin says that they can help too. He holds the heavy ballista. But Varus asks Elvin not to be reckless since the winch is broken and the rope is immovable. But Elvin says that Heal is risking his life for them. Some great warriors he would be if he sat back and waited. Soon, Mappa also joins Elvin and helps repair the ballista. On the other hand, the Leviathan comes in front of Heal and Terran, blocking their way. As it is about to strike at Heal, the orcs begin to aim at the Leviathan. Taking advantage of the situation, Heal asks Terran to jump and keep moving forward. Finally, they make it to the spot. Heal makes a signal to Fur and Reel. Fur asks if everyone is ready and pulls the rope, making Leviathan sink into the ground. Heal comes to check on the beast, saying in case even the heavy ballista wasn't enough, they constructed a cave beneath the reclaimed land. The others destroyed the support to trap the beast down there. And here is the Starker's masterpiece, a mithril pickaxe. Heal takes out the axe and its hand marks asks if Heal would like to mine. Heal agrees and asks to smash the beats. The mark agrees and optimizes mining efficiency. With that, Heal strikes at the Leviathan. In his fist is the hardest of metals, which can even slay gods, and on his hand is Cave King at full blast. Everyone can see the flash coming out of the cave after Heal goes down there. Even the ocean trembles because of the scene. Heal strikes the Leviathan's head with the mithril pickaxe, ending it in that very instant.